Today, we're going to see how to create and delete an EC2 instance in AWS using Terraform. Terraform is an open source tool that allows you to define and manage your infrastructure as code. This means that instead of manually configuring servers, databases, and other components, we can use this tool to describe the desired infrastructure in configuration files that we can then version in Git. Terraform takes care of provisioning, modifying, and destroying these resources, and it supports multiple cloud providers such as AWS, Azure, or Google Cloud, as well as on-premises infrastructure. Now let's go over Visual Studio Code, and let's start working on a sample project where we are going to create a new EC2 instance using Terraform. So we're going to create a new file, we're going to name it main.tf, and here we are going to include the first block of the configuration that will be basically the definition of the providers. In our case, we're going to deploy this infrastructure on AWS, so AWS will be our provider. We need to check this page of HashiCorp to get the latest version of the provider. So here we can go to Browse Providers. We can select our platform, that would be AWS in our case. And basically here's a description of this provider. Basically lifecycle management of AWS resources, including AWS, EC2, Lambda, EKS, ECS, and others. And here is the version 5.85. Let's go back to the editor. So that will be the version that we're going to require there. And also a required version in this case will be the Terraform version. I'm going to check the version that I have in my environment, running Terraform -B, and the version is 1.10.5. So we're going to keep that as the required version for the configuration. Now we're going to add another block that has to do also with the provider, and we're going to set the region where we're going to deploy our resources. Basically, it's going to be Ohio, US East 2. And now we're going to add what is going to be the resource, that we're going to deploy on AWS. That will be an AWS instance. Basically, we're going to deploy a web server. And here we have, for example, the image that we're going to deploy. If we go to the AWS website, we need to go here to AMI catalog. And basically, we're going to use the first one, that is an Amazon Linux 2023 AMI. And we also define what's going to be the instance type. In our case, we're going to use a T2 micro. And we define the tags. Basically, this will be the name that we're going to see in the AWS console once we deploy this resource. Okay, now let's go back to the terminal. Here I am in the directory where we have this .tf file. Let's take a look. Basically, let's do a cat on the file. Yeah, basically this is the file. And now we can run some commands. The first one will be Terraform init. With this command, we are going to download and install the providers, in our case, AWS. And we're going to take a look at where this information will be stored. So let's run it. And here we have initializing the backend, initializing provider plugins, installing HashiCorp AWS and the version that we defined, 5.85. And now let's take a look at the directory where all this information will be stored. So in the .terraform folder, it's going to basically download the provider. And in this file, terraform.log.hcl is going to put the latest version of the plugin, or basically the version of the provider that we installed. Let's do a cat on this file. And here we can see the version, and we also see some hashes that has to do with the download of the file. Okay, there are some other commands such as the formatting of the configuration file. For that, we can run Terraform fmt or format. Let's run it. Now let's go back to the editor. I'm not sure if we make any changes here, but basically we can make sure now that the format is correct. And now we can check the configuration to see if the configuration is valid. And for that, we can run Terraform validate. Let's run it. And we're going to get success. Basically, we are sure now that the configuration is valid. Let's make a change here. So we get an error when we validate it. We run again, and we're going to get the detail on the error. Basically on the line 19, in resource, AWS instance web server, and basically what is the specific error. basically the name of the property is wrong. Now let's fix it. This will be instance type, sorry. Okay, and now we can validate again. Now we are sure that it's valid. And now let's run a command to see a preview of the deployment. Basically, for that, we can run Terraform plan. That is going to show us basically what are the changes that will be applied when we run the apply command, the command that will run to deploy the infrastructure. And here we can see different properties, the image here, for example, and we also see, for example, get password data. This is basically a default value. Instance type, that will be T2 micro, the source check, another default value, and the tags that we define in our configuration file. Okay, and now let's clean this. And now we can run Terraform apply. When we run Terraform apply, basically, we're going to see that this will add a new instance here in the console. So now we don't have any instances, EC2 instances running. So if we run Terraform apply, and now we're going to need to confirm. We need to enter yes to confirm the action. And now we're going to see a new EC2 instance in running state. As we can see here, we have the instance, the state as running, the status check initializing, and we're going to see the name that will be the web app, the name that we define in our tags from our configuration. Okay, let's go back. And also from the terminal, we can check the status by running Terraform show. And this will basically print out all the details of the instance, the EMI, the ARN. Is going to print out the availability zone, that is US EC2A. The what else? The ID of the instance state, the instance type, the private IP, the public IP, the private DNS, the public DNS as well, the subnet where this instance will be deployed, and some other details about the EC2 instance. Okay, and now we can remove or destroy this instance by running another command using Terraform. That will be Terraform destroy. We need to pass a target. That will be our instance. Basically, we need to put a path in our configuration file. That will be the resource. It's going to be AWS instance dot web server. So let's enter it here, AWS underscore instance dot web underscore server. We run this. We need to confirm the action. And now if we go back to the console, we're going to see that the instance will change the state to shutting down. We need to remove the filter. And as we can see here, the instance state will be shutting down. So our EC2 instance will be terminated. That will be the final state of the instance. The command is still running here. And now as you can see here, the status is terminated. And if we run Terraform show, we're going to see that there are no other instances running because we don't have any other resources. And that's pretty much it. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.